Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Say You to the Game Today podcast with myself and Malcolm. We are live on Instagram and on YouTube at the same time. I hope you can hear our sounds. Malcolm, how you doing today?
I'm absolutely buzzing, mate. How are you doing? Are you alright?
What is it with the UK accent? It's upside down.
Let's
Anyway.
get it. Let's get it.
Yeah, we were still getting the hang of the Olympics, but now the Olympics that are done, our eyes are all focused on the WNBA and also the soon coming NBA season. And yeah, I want to ask you a question before we get into it. How many games have you been able to watch of the WNBA? Be honest if you don't.
I've been able to watch three games: the Indiana game,
Okay,
the Liberty versus Aces game, and
okay,
the Sky game
okay.
yesterday. Yeah, and Sky is actually playing tonight, and they're down 17 against Mercury. Is it Mercury?
Yeah, if that's how they pronounce it.
Let's
Yeah.
see for the facts. Yeah, it's called Mercury. I think it's called Phoenix Mercury.
Yeah. I was just checking whether we are also live on Instagram. Might be a little bit different, but I think we are live. But yeah, so today we're going to get into it. Our content for the day, it's basically just talk about the WNBA after the playoffs. They had their rest and now they're back into it. And, in most people's eyes, it's time to gear up and start making push for the playoffs. And the defending champions, although they had a little bit of, I wouldn't say a rough start, but I would say when you're the defending champions, you're always expected to be some else. You're always expected to defend the championship you just won. And, people had some to say about their struggles early, but Chelsea Gray wasn't in the lineup. But that's another story for another day. But today I want to talk about just what do you think about just how much people are going to be marching to the WNBA now that every other event that would usually be happening at this moment is not going to be happening, but also at the same time, how much the WNBA has been on the market and on the media market for this year.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Because it comes from a stem of WNBA greatly advancing on their market this year because of the introduction of big time rookies, Camila Cardoso, who had just won a championship, the national championship, or the Natty in South Carolina for the South Carolina Gamecocks, with injuries, the former champion 2023. Caitlin Clark, two-time finalist, although she hasn't won yet a national championship. So I think this class of rookies was so talented. So WNBA was obviously always gonna advance in terms of commercials, in terms of marketing, in terms of fans, in terms of media, in terms of box office, because of the rookie class. And last year, the rookie class we had was not so. I mean, we only had Aliyah Boston, who was also in South Carolina, and obviously she won Rookie of the Year as well. But I think it has been a really good um, advance from the WNBA perspective, and I mean they have created some pieces to to advance on this with snapping Caitlin Clark out of. We talked about this out of the Olympics, but now talking about your question you asked about the whole people are now going to watch WNBA because now there's no NBA now until late October. And she'll talk about the games, the fixtures, the in-season tournament, which is now called the Emirates NBA Cup.
Yeah,
Later.
and I was a little, I'm not confused, but I was like, what happened?
And then now it starts in late October. That's about 2 months from now, and a couple and 1 week. And then NFL is coming back, but next month. And then if there's no NBA, there's no NFL. I mean, people are still doing preseasons for NFL. So I mean, pretty much NBA fans are just watching WNBA just as a decoy, not to get bored, because I mean, it's about the end of the season. They're about to get into their playoffs. And obviously, now we're waiting to see who's going to be the rookie of the year, who's going to be the MVP, who's going to have the greatest momentum going to the playoffs for the WNBA. So I think WNBA has really done a great job this year to come out. And what helped them again was the Olympics. I don't think they would have had all this media hype if the Olympics are not this year. I mean, even though the Caitlin Clarks were this year, like they came this class for this year, the fact that the Olympics increased the global audience for, I mean, there are people who didn't know Eja Wilson, but just because of the Olympics, they're watching WNBA now. So I think this global audience from the Olympics, the international audience, really helped them to now come and watch the WNBA. What else? The big players, I also didn't know some big players. You only hear from them, let's say in some rumors, in news, and national TV, on ESPN. But the Olympics was a really great job so that the rookie class, the Olympics as well, the playoffs are coming up, so it's really that time for clutch and not that time of like playing around. And so I think the marketing has really helped them, and I think it's just going to get better. I mean, we're going to talk about what happened with Caitlin Clark and how she's broken records and she's breaking more records as a rookie, and how she's an assist queen. But also we've seen how she has influenced not only her team Indiana Fever from, I don't know, she has increased the sales in a arena by more than 2 times, and the WNBA has generally increased their fans both on audience behind the screens, like on TV, and even on the actual ground, on the stadium, on the arena. So it's been a really big plus for them, and I think they've really done a great job because before this year, um, I can't lie to you, but the WNBA fans were very few. There were very few, and it was
Really,
basically, and you never heard of WNBA fans solely based on WNBA. Most of them are just NBA fans or NBA pundits who are required to watch WNBA just to analyze it, or NFL fans who just want to watch, WNBA, or the NBA fans who live in the same area. For example, New York Knicks fans who live in New York, they go to New York Liberty games just because they live in New York, and they have the money to, watch some games. But now I think we've gotten young girls are starting to, these girls who won the Olympics, they've changed young girls' dreams. They're now watching the WNBA more. It has come out into the audience. It's really been a great thing for them, and I wish them the best in their future, whatever. And because one more point before I finish,
yeah.
because these things are coming up of women should have be paid as much as men in terms of sports and all that stuff. So so this is why they need to increase their audience as well, because you cannot be arguing that women should be paid like the same thing as men for gender equity, yet you don't even have half of the number that of the main people that attend arenas. So that's why they're increasing this thing, and it's only going to get better with more introductions, with more commercials, with more hype, with more national television and all that. So I wish them the best, and take it away.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. It's really great to see them come out like, you know you grow up knowing the NBA, loving the NBA, right? But not for so long that you hear international kids who say, I want to be like Ed Wilson, I want to be like, because it's not being talked about, right? But I think the new wave will definitely create also some international recognition to the women's game. Of course, the NBA is still the biggest league, but it's also based in America, so it's not as known as the international world. But anyways, that's just another topic to look forward to when they start going to play to Abu Dhabi, like the NBA does to opening season, to other countries, like everything, things, stuff like that will start coming up. Moving forward, and but still on the same topic of Caitlin Clark. Wait,
One more point before you dive into Kevin Clark. I think what a disadvantage will be for the WNBA, it's like only 12 teams, and I think that's a big disadvantage because 12 teams is it's pretty much 11 games for 11 opponents for one team. So I think that's a big disadvantage. Because you look at NFL, there are 32 teams, NBA, there are 30 teams. So 11 teams really, like, it's a pretty much
yeah,
short.
but you gotta add the Valkyrie and the Toronto teams. They have done the expansions. I think they are coming 2025. So
Also, they're joining the WNBA.
yes, the Bay Area and Toronto. Yes,
But
Valkyrie.
still, there won't be more than 20. Like, I feel like for them to have like a real audience, is for them to have more than like 25 teams. But they
I,
just 12.
the way I look at it, right? It's more like it's growth, right? You can't expect it to happen today because if they are fighting for the audience and they just start creating teams out of nowhere, that wouldn't be feasible, right? But I think if one year they increase and then the next year they give another, whether it be Vegas, which NB is about to do, I just think that it's going in the right direction. It's not going to be overnight, right? Which is why you see the Bay Area will get a team, Toronto will get a team, I think, by 2025. And that's what you hope to see. But I think what you're saying is really true. It's still not as good as the NBA because you don't have as much
As many
games
opponents,
to
we just
play.
repeating 11 opponents. I mean, home away, home on the road, on home on the road. So 11 opponents is pretty much short. And I get your point about them trying to develop, but that's why I said I think that's their biggest disadvantage because it's not already there. And obviously, for this to grow over time, by the time they reach the whole audience of, I mean, hundreds of millions of viewers per night, just on a regular season game like the way NBA is, even NBA would have gotten way further. So, not in a case that they will never catch NBA, which is true, but I feel like if they had more teams than that, it would definitely be a bigger case because they are because like this since there are 12 teams and they're kind of spaced out really. Um, three states has only like one or like over four states can have only like one WNBA team, which is unlike in the NBA. In the NBA, almost every state has an NBA team that you know that we can go to. For example, Massachusetts we have Boston Celtics. You go to New York, you have the Knicks, you have the Brooklyn Nets. You tell me any state. In California, you have I mean at least three teams. You have Clippers, you have Lakers, you have Warriors. So, but the thing about WNBA is that more than three states can have only one team. For example, the Seattle Storm that's up there in the Northwest. It's pretty much the only TWNB team in like a million states. And you know how like America is very big that distance to move like you cannot have fans from to 20 I mean 500 miles away. You just have fans from around the area, you know. So if they can make these expansions, as you said, like within the continent, and at least increase the teams to like 20, 25, then we can have a game. Because now 12 teams, that means in the playoffs you're having 6 versus 6, which means you're already like in a round of what? Round of 6. Then after that, semifinals, finals, you've already finished the tournament. But now
Yeah.
we want to see people watch, you know, round 1, round 2, round 3, you know, then quarterfinals. Okay, not in terms of quarterfinals, but like what they say, semifinals, conference finals, and all that. Although they don't have conference finals, but you want to see like things like series, like some like actual like
Yeah,
you
I
know
mean,
what I mean, like NBA, for
yeah,
example.
yeah, like
I'm not
it drags more
saying that
people.
NBA is better. I'm not saying that there should be NBA right now, and they can't obviously. But the way they are growing, I would like to see more. I would like to see more of this expansion because it will not only increase viewers, but it also increase the excitement of the game, not just the viewers. But yeah, and it will get there, but with time, and it's going to take a really long time, but it will get there.
No, I mean, I think it takes time. It does. It took a lot of years to the NBA to get to the same level they are at currently. But I just want to mention something. I don't know whether you saw the comments of Caitlin Clark after she's been called for a technical by the Raves, and she thanked him for firing her up because she said that she played better than she was playing after they gave her a technical. And I just want to ask you, did you think, given I think for the past 3 or 2 seasons of the NBA, we've had we've had some sort of inconsistency in rafing, and we've had sort of
What did you say? WNBA or NBA?
I would say NBA, right? But I was my pen right. In NBA, we had inconsistency and we had some softness, if you will use that word. Raves responding to such really not big deal stuff on the court, right? And in some sort of a way, we are seeing that in the WNBA now, right? Where somebody would say something and then it's a technical. Um, and are we going to see the same amount of fines to the WNBA as we've been seeing in the NBA, given how much the inconsistency is going to start happening?
Oh, that's a great question, Claret. First of all, they're not going to charge the women as much as the men because the men are earning more than them, significantly more than them. I mean, Tatum is earning almost 62 million per year.
Yeah, but I want you to speak on the level of their pay, right? Let's not compare the money that the WNBA or the NBA gets, but I'm saying according
Like
to
the
level of
percentage,
pay.
like for example, 10,000 is 10% of 100,000. You mean like not
So,
in
for
terms
example,
of
if I would say that Jason Tatum would be fined $100, $100,000, like when it comes to the WNBA, you're just gonna think about how much their revenue is, and but just in general, do you think they will also start finding them as much money, right? Not compared to the NBA, but just as much money
as
compared
much
to
money.
what they make.
First of all, I think that even if they do, these players' money is not a thing. It's not a problem for them. So even if they do, like they care less. And another thing about this refs thing, like it's getting like annoying and really annoying because it's a game, it's a physical game, and it's a contact game, and these are professionals who want to win. They want to win. Like obviously, let them talk. I don't like this whole thing of a T when you talk, when you do. Obviously, there's discipline and there's protocol for, and like for all this, like for public audience, your national TV, you can't raise fingers, you can't do some certain celebrations. I get that, and that's okay. But there's things when I'm just taunting you, looking you in the eye and talking. You cannot give me a T for that because it's a game and these people have come and it's a rivalry. Some of them are rivalries, you know. For example, SS Liberty is a rivalry. So when something happens, these guys go into the game and they all want to win. They're competitors. So this whole thing of a T on every small thing, a T on every small thing, I really don't like it. And the inconsistency because you can see a T on this one ref can give it here, and then and another ref cannot give it another game. And
That's
then
the
when you see in the playoffs, these refs are missing big calls, like a big foul, just because it's the playoffs and you have to play hard. And the regular season, you're teaching them to not play hard because the whistle is going to come. You're blowing the whistle every 2 seconds. And the playoffs, you're being inconsistent. So, and we've seen all this with calls. And now, obviously, calls cannot be 100% efficient because they're human and we're human. But
yeah.
we've seen this especially with the only call I'll never forget in my life: Lakers versus Celtics,
Patrick
TD
Bell.
Garden, 2022, 2023. I'll never forget that call. That's
Jesus
the call I'll
Christ.
never forget. I will never intentionally. But we've seen a lot of calls like this, and I know it's human, but also this replay thing has come in. I told you about this that sometimes even the ref is more correct on the flow than when he goes to the replay and goes back to the different decision. Maybe because of the pressure, because of the noise, maybe because of the game.
Yeah.
Like certain calls can be made at certain times, like because of the score, like the score, and it's a very big thing. We may assume it's not a big thing, but when, for example, the score is like 2 minutes left and the score is tied, and for example, the ref is more hesitant to call a whistle, because than when it's like a blowout of 20 points and it's 2 minutes left. He makes more hesitant because now the game is already done, 20 points left. So even if he calls, the away fans are not going to be like angry or stuff. But when a game is tight in tight margins, any call can cost you your career or like anything, blackmail
No,
and
I think the inconsistency was absolutely insane, especially last season.
yeah.
I am so happy that in the playoffs it wasn't the
Yeah,
same
playoffs
thing.
are great.
It was,
NBA playoffs are great. I,
but yeah, just staying on the same topic, I think the WNBA also, like, the more you grow, the more the rules change, and I feel like they're also leaning into the Steph Curry, Caitlin Clark effect, which is every contact matters given who the contact is against. I think we're going to see more calls on like WNBA stars than we've been seeing. Um, and I'm not speaking this just to say that they will be giving more calls to people like Caitlin Clark, but I'm just saying in general, right? Like, as much as their game is more, it's not as physical as the
as
NBA,
men,
right? But it still, right? I think we'll see more of those calls being given to the star players. I just want to read you something, right? I want to read you two teams that you mentioned, and I think they are really important. Liberty, they are leading the Eastern Conference with 23 winning four, and the Aces, they are in the second place, 17 wins in nine. And I just want to ask you, do you think we'll be seeing a rematch?
Yeah, I think those are the two best teams in the league, and it's like undoubtedly there's no other team that's really. No, I'm not saying that other teams are bad, but they're just not as good as those two teams. So, and I know Essex have not had a great season like the way they've had it, but you cannot rule them out for the finals because it sort of like reminds me of the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. You know, they were not playing very well in the regular season, but champions remain champions. They still have the mentality, and when they get over the line, man, there's nothing you can do. Even if their star players are out on the when it matters, they'll produce. So,
So
Liberty AC is the
what I'm
favorite for the
getting
finals as
what
well.
I'm getting from your what I'm getting from your statement right now is that you're saying that not only is there gonna be a rematch, but we'll definitely have a 3P by the Aces. And
Yeah,
you're already counting them as
I
champions.
think SS is more likely to three-peat than Liberty winning a championship.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. That
yeah.
is a whole take that
Bro, haven't you seen the Chiefs, bro? If you
I
watch,
have, I have,
bro,
but
it happens all day in all sports. Every time everyone thinks that the champions, the defending champions, are weak, blah blah blah.
yeah,
What happens in the finals?
but also you gotta look at the additions and just the I wouldn't say the
Well, that's the thing. Additions don't play. Additions are are theoretical. They're not practical. I'm telling you, if a game on the line and you want someone to win for you, like to save your life, you're taking your champions, you're taking the Chiefs in NFL, you're taking the Aces in WNBA, you're taking, for example, now we have the Boston Celtics, you're taking Manchester City in the Premier League. Every time, I don't know why people get blinded by regular seasons a lot because of like changes and his team is on form. But me, I judge in postseason, and that's why I'm not worried at all for the Aces. I mean, the
yeah,
Aces are so.
but right now, currently, I don't care what you tell me, right? I get it. The Aces are the defending champions, but I see Liberty with 23 wins, Aces with 17. I get it. They might be reserving their players, but at some point, you're gonna let the facts speak, right? And then if you watch them play, you can all see some sort of I wouldn't say chemistry, but like there is a vibe to it. There is some sort of belief that they are going for it again. And I'm talking about the Liberty. And I get it, the Aces are the defending champions, but I still think it wouldn't be as easy as it's been before.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I think yesterday Liberty versus Aces, Jonquel Jones had 10 points, 17 rebounds. Five Beach had 12 points. Brianna Stewart 18 points, 7 rebounds. Sabrina Ionesco 23 points, six assists. So you can see that the dynamic, the fluidity, in what you're talking about. But Aces have a girl called Eja Wilson, and she's a star. I mean, she's a
Goat.
star. I mean, she is
They call
absolutely
her.
amazing. She was the MVP of Olympics. She was two-time MVP as well the past 2 years. Kelsey Plum as well. You saw her in the final game of the final against France, how she came up big time. They also have Chelsea Gray. You talked about all these people. Like Aces is undoubt. You cannot throw them out. As much as they're not having a great season and they've had like how many losses? 9 losses. I don't rule them out because the Liberty is playing well, but they're more likely. I'm not saying they'll win because no one knows, but they're more
Yeah.
likely to win a three-peat. If I'm to put my life on the line, I'm giving it to Aces than the Liberty. Yeah,
Okay. I mean, I understand. I mean, you gotta pay respect to
bro,
the
I'm telling you,
terms.
it's the same story that happens every day, man. I'm telling you, the only way SS is not winning, like teams like this, like champions, like with the DNA, with the mentality, is if you beat them before the finals. And that's when I understand, like, if Liberty plays like Aces in the semifinals, then I'm more likely to agree with you on that about the whole, had a greater season. But in the finals, even if a team has had like 30 losses and it's a big team and they have this championship mentality, you saw with Warriors against the Celtics. Celtics were way better in the season, but when Warriors came, they beat them four in what they beat them 4-2. Right? You saw that. You saw what happened.
Yeah,
You saw.
but the difference will be is that the Celtics had not tested what is the finals, but the Liberty have been there, right? So they understand what are the stakes. All they need is just a little bit of
Bruh, what is the
something to
big
get over the hump.
what is the biggest sporting event in America? It's the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs played the San Francisco 49ers 2 years ago. They beat them. They came back again this year. What happened? Who had the better season? The 49ers. Who won? The Chiefs. They'll beat them again.
I
I'm
get
telling
it,
you,
but when you think about
it's the mentality. It's the mentality
no, but
of champions.
when you look at the Chiefs, right? Look at how they're constructed, Marco.
But
Tell
no,
me,
I get your point. They have the best quarterback in the league with Patrick Mahomes. Some people are even arguing that he's the greatest of all time, before even Tom Brady. But who had the better season? Who had the better season between them? The 49ers. Who was the better wide receivers? 49ers. Who was the only thing that Chiefs had over the 49ers was the what? Was their coach Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, and the tight end,
and the
Travis Etienne.
experience.
Apart from those three people and the experience, apart from those three people, everything else, the San Francisco 49ers were the best from the regular season to the postseason, just like how Liberty is to the Aces right now. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not worried for a bit because this thing happens every day, even in football, in soccer. I'm obviously a great fan of soccer as well. So I see this every day in, day out with Real Madrid.
Anyways, I
So
would not disagree
that's what I'm
because
telling you. I am Aces is more likely to three-peat if they reach the finals of the WNBA than to lose to Liberty, but if they are more likely to lose to Liberty before the finals, if they have a matchup, you get what I'm saying?
yeah, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah,
But in the finals, these teams that have had a championship mentality, everyone is ruling them out because they've not had a great season. The big players, that's when they step up because of the championship mentality and the experience. I get they have come back. It's not their first time in the lights, in the bright lights, the Liberty, but bro, same
I,
story is going to happen, and we only have to wait and see. Same
I
story,
mean
bro.
it's gonna be great to see what happens because if everybody is expecting them to 3P and it goes otherwise, then there will be much more to actually
I
look
mean,
forward
I
to.
mean, speaking of three-peat, even the Chiefs are going this next season for a three-peat as well. Aces are going for three-peat.
I
Look
wouldn't
on Haskins in
recommend
the
I
middle.
wouldn't recommend anybody to bet on that.
On what? On
on the
Aces?
on the Chiefs to repeat. Aces 50-50. The Chiefs, you might have to look a little bit away.
And then
Just
also there's Yukon Huskies, the men's team for basketball for the Nadi, March Madness and stuff. They're also going for three-peat. So we
no,
have many three-peats this year. So we shall see.
no, Yukon is not repeating simply because there has been so many times that some teams have not showed up when it matters the most, and I think that will change just a little bit. But anyways, we're going off topic. Um, let's just everybody tune in for the WNBA season. It's going forward, and it's on the verge of getting more interesting. We're approaching the postseason, so please
So yeah.
start tuning in. I'll be releasing some sort of morning tea on the YouTube channel, just on whatever that happens a day before the day that I'll be releasing it. So look forward to that too. Moving forward, this,
Wait. Before we move forward to the NBA to the next point, on the schedule, I just want to recap on what happened in the WNBA. 2 days ago, like it has resumed recently after the break of the Olympics. So all the players are back from France, from Paris, whatever it's called. And Caitlin Clark she broke the assist for the record for the rookie with the most assists. She had 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 29 points. She was 1 point away from 30 points. And they, ultimately won their game. And then yesterday we had the Aces versus Liberty. Liberty won. We talked about that, and then we also had Chicago Sky, versus the Phoenix Mercury, and we saw how Camila Cardoso came up big time, 16 points, 11 rebounds. We saw injuries as well that got coming up big time. The walking double, Caitlin Clark, the assist queen on one hand, injuries the rebounding queen, obviously for rookies because I'm not bringing in the big players. But for rookies, those are the two leading people who are actually raising their market in the league. So we saw their comeback for the Chicago Sky. I've just seen the numbers, and they played well. And right now, I think they're trailing. But yeah, good luck to rather congratulations to Caitlin Clark for breaking that record. I think now she's the front runner for MVP, for the rookie MVP. Yeah, there was a point where, sort of a debate between injuries, but it was always gonna be Caitlin Clark. I mean, from the beginning, all the media is on
I
Caitlin.
think also the other.
So injuries was just fighting for like second spot, and for the recognition of herself. But she also knew that she was
No,
always going to.
I think really also what people don't pay attention is that the Fever are having some sort of success. I get it; it's not too much success, but 13 and 15 being the third in the Eastern Conference isn't too bad for a team that just acquired a rookie. But yeah, I think Caitlin Clark will definitely be the rookie of the year.
Yeah,
Uh,
she
but
will.
also, but also, Angel Reese is right there, right behind her. But anyways, let's move forward before our time elapses. The
Talk about
NBA
NBA. Let's get it.
they
Vamos.
just released their new schedule for the upcoming season of the 2024-2025 season. And I'm just gonna kind of mention just a little bit of the interesting games that I see in the preseason and opening nights and everything. So we've got so many preseason games, which is really, really crazy. I am blown away. Usually the preseason games are a little bit not too many, but so we have, and why is the Warriors not in as many as those games? I'm
I told you as the end gonna be in playoffs this year. So
or
them
maybe, or maybe it's for the good, it's for the good. But we have the
don't
Denver
have
Nuggets and
places like playoffs anymore, man.
the
Don't
Denver
you?
Nuggets and the Celtics preseason game. They will be the ones to open everything. And then we have a rematch of the same teams, and then we have Knicks versus Hornets. Then we have Wizards and Raptors. But I think most of these beginning, preseason games will be more to just get the players to warm up and run.
Yeah,
But
it's not
I'm
really that
gonna
interesting.
yeah, I'm gonna jump to
But
such an interesting preseason game, which will be the Lakers versus Warriors. Um,
it's always a big game. It's a
yeah,
rivalry.
yeah, I know,
Head
I
and
know,
shoulders.
I know. Stephen A. Smith will be on the first take early morning talking about this game, right? But I just want to ask you a question
It's always a big game. It's always a big
on
game.
this very topic, right? We've seen improvements and moves made by different teams in the NBA. And now that the schedule has been released, my eyes are focused on two teams that are about to reach the pinnacle of the end of the careers of some of their star players in Steph Curry and LeBron James, right? And in many cases, in my opinion, I would say that they haven't made as much moves for us to say that they will be contenders, although having Steph and LeBron makes them contenders. So, my question to you right now is, do you think the Lakers and the Warriors will be making any noise this season going to postseason?
Postseason, obviously, most likely both teams will be in the postseason realistically. But I still stick with Warriors being in the playing. There's no way they're being in
Oh my
between the top
God.
teams.
You say
There's
both.
no way they're being because every team in the Western Conference has improved. But this time they may be in the playing a bit better, you know.
Did, did,
The
did,
same with
did,
number
did
10.
your Lakers did your Lakers improve? Did your Lakers improve
Lakers
anything?
is definitely going to be in the playoffs, and we need such teams in the NBA playoffs because it raises the bar. It raises the bar. Without Lakers,
I
bro,
mean, I mean,
without Lakers,
regardless,
no playoffs, man.
regardless of the Lakers making the
Bro,
playoffs, I
without
still take Denver Nuggets to beat them in three, not even
no
in.
Denver is not good anymore. I told you, I told you they ain't good no more. I told you the only reason why they beat Lakers, the second time, the second
Mhm.
time was because of us. It was because of Dilo. I told you we fumbled 2 games. We won 1 game and fumbled 2 games, which means if we didn't fumble those 2 games, it would have been 3-3. And now we're going to game 7. And now we're beating them because Lakers is good in game 7s. You know what Lakers is good at? Fine, we're not good at all these first quarter, second quarter bullshit and all that smeanga regular season. But when it comes to clutch time, we're the best team in clutch time, the most efficient, the most points after was it the Knicks as well? The Knicks together with Knicks,
Yeah.
and game 7s. You saw what happened. Bro, Lakers is good at closeout games. Like it has always been good at closeout games. So which is why if you're to beat us, you beat us within 6 or 5. But when it comes to game 7s and clutch time, I knew Lakers was going to win. But we fumbled 2 games. We fumbled them. They were in our hands. In our hands. Any other day we could have won. If we had a better piece, we were winning. And which we got. We got Dalton Connect. Wait and see.
Anyways,
We've been accused.
Denver, you have not proven them wrong, but I
Yeah,
wanna.
Denver, you know what? I'm more scared of Oklahoma than Denver. Denver is
Don't worry, you'll be fine. You guys have not done any improvements, so whether you be fine or
well, we
not,
got Dalton Connect, we got Bronny James.
great, great additions right there. I see.
Yeah.
Really. Anyways, I want to ask you a question. We have on the opening night of the season, but for the Knicks will be playing the Pacers
Indiana.
in
Eesh,
the
when
Garden.
they-
And my question to you is: do you think that the NBA is buying into the rivalry between Indiana and Pacers?
yeah, it's a rivalry, man. I mean, I don't wanna be offensive, but Eastern Conference is a bit very easy, and they'll do anything to create a rivalry so they can create things more interesting. And I think it started from the players from the playoffs. We saw Indiana beat Knicks when no one expected them to be the Knicks.
Yeah,
They won 2 games at Madison Square Garden, which is the world's most famous arena and the loudest and the best. So we saw this. So New York Knicks will want to come back with a bang. Is the game at MSG or is it in?
I think it will be a Square Garden.
That will be fun. That will be fun. But
I mean, where else would you host that game if you
yeah,
want it to be
I
actually
mean,
a rivalry?
if there's a game you want, like it's gonna be in MSG. Like it's like atmosphere is amazing now. But they'll do anything they want to create. In Eastern Conference, we barely have any rivalries. I mean, we have what Sixers and what and
Miami.
Knicks maybe.
Let me explain them to you. You have Miami and Celtics.
Yeah, you
You
have
have
Miami Celtics.
Knicks and New York.
Which
Yeah,
one?
Knicks and New York.
Knicks and New York.
Yeah, Knicks and Indiana. My bad.
Okay, Knicks and Indiana is now a rivalry
Knicks
because of
and
what they do.
Indiana. Right, those two gives you the classic for the year. Only those two, right? I wouldn't consider the Sixers and other teams any sort of rivalry. But the other rivalry that you could start thinking about would be the Cleveland Cavaliers and Orlando Magic, just because of the talk that happened after the
Game 7.
game 7 and everything. So you might want to look into that because they're young guys and stuff will be interesting, right? But I think there'll be rivalries. But my all eyes are on the Eastern Conference because, man, we always packed. I don't know why, but the young guys, the LeBrons, the Steph Curry. Sometimes I sit down and I'm like, who is gonna come out of the top? Like, because Oklahoma City, they have made improvements. Of course, and Anthony Edwards and his crew will still do their thing. The Joker, we're still yet to see. We've seen Russell Westbrook join him. I don't know what that will look like on the court. On paper, is still shaky, but Westbrook is always a good addition. And if he's gonna ride your bench, then you're good. Um, and then you look at the Warriors, they add Buddy Hield, and that's it, and a couple of Rockies. And then you look at Lakers, they add
Warriors.
Bernie
Bro,
James.
forget about Warriors, bro. Forget about Warriors, bro. You
And,
guys are bad.
but now my question that leads us to the close is,
Uh,
what do you expect from the upcoming season? Because given how much the east the Eastern Conference is packed and the rivalries that are just being created in the West, do you think that we're going to see different champs this year, or we might still see the same champs repeat?
I'm not going to come here and say that we're going to see a different champ. Yet no team has yet shown me that they can beat the Celtics
Hmm.
until we actually get to that point. I can't come here and start saying this team will definitely beat Celtics when no team has beaten Celtics yet. So until we get to that point, when Celtics is being troubled by a certain team, maybe in around May, then I can answer this question definitely. But for now, I'm waiting until the Celtics drop because I'm still in my mind. And then for the Western Conference, Lakers will reach the NBA Finals versus Celtics, and maybe the Celtics will win then. But because the Celtics are by far the best team in the Eastern Conference, but Lakers also by far the best team in the Western Conference. So we shall start NBA Finals, and We'll see, but for now, I cannot say definitely say no team will be the Celtics because Celtics is good. It's good and it's good
No,
and
I agree. I agree.
is
Unless they make a little bit of changes, maybe because of money and
as
everything. But
long as they still have their coach and all their big players, they're not going anywhere.
no, definitely, I agree. But yeah. Anyways, if you have anything else to say, we can say
Yes,
night.
sir. NBA in season tournament or the NBA Cup. Lakers has to retain it. That's my prediction. Lakers will retain that.
I
They're
disagree.
going to name they should name the MVP, the LeBron James MVP trophy, because all these other guys are being named MVPs and whatever Cavs say they're not even done anything, and yet all these other players who are and yet the LeBrons who have legacies, they should be named. So and Lakers will have to retain that cup. What else? What else? What else? Lakers is playing Timberwolves opening game. Celtics I think is playing Cavs as well
Yeah.
opening game and stuff like that. I think Knicks is also playing Pacers. That one is a must watch.
Oh.
But really, you should not miss out on the NBA Cup because regular season is not that interesting until after the All Star break because players are not like they're low key. Even the losses don't mean nothing. But the NBA in season tournament, like it's win or go home. So you need to watch that.
No,
Um,
I think even like players will be more into it now that they have experienced it. Like the first one, there were like questions of like when do we act urgent? When do we bring our A game, right? But now they know how the competition goes. They know what is on the line. And I think every other team would want to win that money for the rest of their players who haven't really started to make a big check like the big guns. But I think it will be really more interesting now and then if you have the NBA Cup. You've had as much fun for the season, and then you go to the All Star game, and then it gets even better when we start the race to the playoffs. Right, and then the playoffs, I think it's really good that the NBA introduced this Emirates NBA Cup. I guess
yeah,
that's it.
yeah. And you talked about expectations for the upcoming NBA season. I wanna see the Bucks improve because I
Yeah,
don't want
let's
excuses.
talk about that.
I don't want these excuses. I don't want to hear no more them as not used to being with Yanis. Nah, you guys have been with each other for more than 365 days. That should stop. I want to see the Sixers improve. I want to see Joel Embiid healthy with Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. I want to see them play well as well. We need to have a contest in the Eastern Conference because there will be a point in time when only everybody is just watching the Western Conference. I want to see the Miami improve. Jimmy Butler will be back. I want to see Sixers. I talked about Sixers. Miami. I talked about the Bucks. Celtics. Obviously, they're going to be there in their A game. I want to see the Knicks get better. Um, yeah, pretty much as long as we have a contest because right now it's looking so one-sided, man. And NBA is being carried by the Western Conference teams. So I want to see this, especially the Bucks, especially the Bucks, because the Bucks were once champions and everyone has really forgotten about them.
No,
So I want to see them
but I
improve.
think if you think about the last season, right, you start looking at they bring in Damian Raylan, yeah, and you expect them to just march and be this great champs that they've been, right?
Yeah,
But
but
you want
it's been a yeah. That's enough for Team Kunis.
yeah,
So
but now I get it. Now we can start putting expectations on their
yeah,
name.
they
But I
now yeah.
want to ask you a question. Yeah, recently I think yesterday, but when I was training with my coach, Coach Dave, thank you, and we're talking about this very topic, right? Chris Milton seems to be back in his groove, right? So do you slide him to the two or to the three? Because he cannot play the three. He is a shooter and he likes the ball to be efficient. So I don't think you should put him at the three. You should put him at the two, and that opens up a spot for somebody else to play better, right?
So let me ask: if he's at two, who is at one?
Damian Lillard, of
And who's
course.
at three? Yanis.
No, they have acquired Torian Prince, who was on your team, the Lakers.
Let him go. Rubbish.
Yeah, but that makes it better because Torian Prince isn't a two, and you guys wanted him to play some sort of a two in many cases, right?
Let him go. We didn't want him.
No, but I'm just saying now we're talking about the Bucks, not the
Wait,
Lakers.
so which number is Yanis then?
Giannis will play a four, of course.
Uh, oh,
Yeah.
you mean like in terms of positions? I thought you mean like who do you got as your number one option?
Oh no! I'm saying no. Of course, Damian Lillard and then Giannis will still be number one, number two, depending on
Wait,
how.
so who was number two for Bucks when Middleton was not healthy?
It was what do you mean two? When before Damian Lillard went there,
No, when Dame was there and Middleton was not
it
there.
was Damian Lillard and Giannis riding the ship.
Wait, Giannis was the number two? Was the shooting guard?
Oh, number two was Malik Beasley.
But what happened to him?
They traded him, which I
So
think
now
was a
Middleton will come to two. So why are you worried?
because he is not shown that he's capable of playing it. Because when they took out Malik Beasley, right, to generate more plays and more defense, because Milton is bigger and he plays good defense than Malik, he struggled to play the two because he kept on wanting to go to the post ups, which is mainly for guys who are playing a three or a four, and that takes away Yanis's game. It takes away Damian's game. They need a two that can spot up and shoot, right? So if he cannot manage to play the two, they gotta have to think about making a very hard decision, which is to move him to a different team, get a different person, right? But
Yeah.
if they can figure out of him to play two, and then have Damian Lillard sometimes play off the ball when Milton is handling the ball, it will be way much fluid, and then let Giannis do his thing whenever he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we close, another thing, expectations from the west side of the nation. I want to see all that 10 teams that went to the NBA postseason, obviously including the playing qualify again. And with the Houston Rockets, they look decent around after the All-Star break. So I'm expecting them to come back and make a bigger contest rather. Not to get into the top 10, but at least to make it a bigger contest, to make it more interesting. I expect the San Antonio Spurs to also be in the fight for top 10. And I expect the Grizzlies to be back with Ja Morant as well. So
I actually have the Grizzlies making the sixth seed. You know,
no, they can't be in top 6, but
what do you mean?
they can't.
What is it they not to?
They can't be in top 6. They can't. Let's face the truth.
Are
But
you forgetting that Marcus Smart is on that team? Ben and
that's what I'm saying.
Moran.
That's what I'm saying. That I want them to be better because Smart will be back, Jamant will be back, Desmond Ben will be there. Triple J. What's his name? Like a big guy.
Oh, did you say Triple J?
Whatever his name is, bro.
Jackson Jr. Yeah,
Whatever. Triple J.
crazy man. How do you have three names?
Steve Adams and all these other players they have. Because they had very many injuries. Steve Adams was also good as well. To help.
What if I told you that they didn't actually have as many injuries in so many cases?
They had a lot of injuries last year, man.
So let me explain something here, right? Yeah. And I'm not sure whether this is real, but I'll say it anyway. When a team has a bad record at the end of the season, their lottery peaks kind of goes high.
Yeah.
Right. So in some ways, I'm looking at some sort of
young players
maneuvers to get involved in the draft that just happened, right? But expect, because if you think about, there has not been as many changes to their team that was in the playoffs a couple of years ago, right? So you might expect them to be way better and better, because even now their bench will be better than it was before, given how much talent I saw on their team, whether being the Rockies and the guy that just
Gigi Jackson.
Yeah, Gigi Jackson. I was like, Jesus Christ, he's 18. It's crazy. But yeah, anyways, so many expectations to look forward to, but I think those are the highlights to me too. Anything else you have to tell the world before we get out of here?
No, sir.
All right, man. Yeah, thank you. I will let you know how the whole morning tea goes. I haven't really decided of what it's gonna look like, but yeah, let's keep going, everybody. If you come across this, you subscribe, you follow on our Instagram handle. It is The Game Today with Claret and Malcolm. On YouTube, it is The Game Today. Subscribe, like, share to other people that would want to tune in for the content, and let's keep the hype going. Watch out for the WNBA season that is in progress already, and keep watching. Yeah, love and peace.
But I gotta say, you are a good host today. You're a good host
Yeah,
today.
you give me the flowers. Yay!
Good host. Thank you guys. Don't forget whatever I said about the subscribing, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye for
I've
me.
always I've always been a good host. I'm just saying. Have a good night.
Good night.